Two Worlds, One Family by Dragon Translator. Chapter 10. He's Back. Toothless landed in front of Lawkeeper's cave. Stormfly and Barf and Belch landed behind him. The old nightmare crawled out of the cave and bowed. Hiccup dismounted Toothless. "Good morning, Lawkeeper," Hiccup said, smiling.
"Good morning, Alpha. I apologize. Those who asked to join your lessons are not here yet."
"That's okay," Hiccup said. "We're here for another reason, actually." He paused, glancing down as he felt Toothless nuzzle him. Hiccup looked up, clearing his throat. I don't want anyone to think they have to," he said quickly. "I'll never treat any of you like that monster did."
Lawkeeper tilted his head. "Alpha, your scent tells me you are nervous. Why?"
Hiccup grimaced. "Well, Dad, me, and Toothless here were talking this morning. The food storage for the food for the village is low. It, might not last the winter."
Lawkeeper jerked and lowered himself fully to the ground. "Forgive us, Alpha."
"For what?" Hiccup asked, stepping closer to the dragon.
"Our raids and our actions after the war have left members of this nest without food. We will rectify this, Alpha. That I vow."
Hiccup blanched. That he did not want. The dragons were free of their slavery to the Red Death. They did not need to fear a leader that would eat them whenever they failed or whenever the notion struck the leader. Hiccup would rather be dragged over lava than put them or anyone into a form of slavery. He did not want the dragons to fear he would punish them harshly over things. Hiccup rushed over and sat down in front of Lawkeeper's nose. The dragon blinked but did not move. "It wasn't your fault," Hiccup said. "She made you raid us. And after the war, you didn't know."
Lawkeeper purred. "I know, Alpha. But the fact remains that our actions have caused this problem, and, at fault or not, we dragons will rectify it."
Hiccup scooted closer. He lifted his hand, palm out, and turned his gaze away. The dragons called him an Alpha and seemed to obey him, but Hiccup would not touch one that did not want him to. He heard Lawkeeper's purr deepen, and then felt warm scales press into his palm. He looked back and smiled. Lawkeeper kept purring and looked blissful. Hiccup began scratching the Lawkeeper's nose. The purr grew deeper. A series of squawks and chirps interrupted them. Hiccup looked over. The Lawkeeper tilted his head, but did not move his muzzle from Hiccup's palm. Several dragons landed in a half circle around the cave entrance, and the others. Hiccup smiled, seeing the terror from Gida's house among the dragons. With their memories unblocked, Hiccup had wondered where the little guy was. Hiccup tilted his head when even all the yellow terror bowed to him. He looked at Toothless. "Is the bowing thing going to be common?" He blinked when all the dragons laughed.
"Yes, brother," Toothless said. "Better get used to it."
Hiccup frowned, but smiled when the terror from Gida's house chittered and walked closer. "Hey, Brother Alpha," the terror said. "A flock of tiny fangs landed last night," the red-orange ladder said. "I recognized him as the one Protector declared your kin, Alpha. He doesn't remember, but we told him the story. Gida said the memories will return as her magic comes in contact with those who were there." Hiccup said, "Okay, so this little guy basically was adopted by Toothless and Hiccup as another dragon brother, just so we're aware."
"The tiny fang is your kin?" Lawkeeper asked, tilting his head.
"We learned his parents died, and Toothless named him Flock before the other dragons called me Alpha. Well, except Shadowfire. He called me Alpha from the start."
"Something that confused us until we spent time with you, Alpha,"
the green Gronkle said. "Confused me too," Hiccup said. He tilted his head. "Still not used to it, to be honest." "Your humility does you credit," the yellow terror, a female by her voice, said. "Hi," Hiccup said. "I'm sorry, I've been rude. I'm Hiccup." He looked at Toothless and then the others. "This is Toothless, my brother. Astrid, my friend."
"Intended brother," Toothless said. "She's your intended now."
Hiccup felt his cheeks warm and he rubbed the back of his head as the dragons cheered. Yeah, Hiccup sputtered. "Astrid, my intended. He paused to clear his throat softly before continuing. Stormfly, her dragon. Toughnut and Roughnut, 2 more of my friends, and Barf and Belch, their dragon. Greetings, Alpha of this nest, the Yellow Terror said. Your nestmates have granted myself and my flock shelter for the night. Good, Hiccup said. He looked to one from Gida's house. Is she from your previous flock? He asked, remembering to use that phrase since Toothless repeatedly calls his tribe his previous flock. She is the elder, the Terror said. After you let me out of the stone den, I found her. The Terror lay down in front of Hiccup. I am sorry I left, Brother Alpha. Even without my memories. I should have stayed when you freed me. It's okay. I don't blame you for flying away. I'd want to be away from that arena if I had to stay there that long. Can I ask what brought you back? We were flying by, looking for a home, and saw all the dragons wandering around the forests. They were not scared, and when we landed to ask why, they said you made this a nest for humans and dragons. The spike thrower then told me of the events in Elder Gida's house. The Yellow Terror approached, and Hiccup smiled at her. Do you want to stay here? He asked. The Terror blinked and looked over at the other dragons. She then looked back to Hiccup. You do not mind? Nope. All I ask is that none of your flock bother the humans in the village. We're still getting used to the fact that dragons aren't going to raid us anymore. In fact, myself and my friends are going to teach both Vikings and dragons to live together in peace. The Terror chirped and bowed. I and my flock will do as you say, my Alpha. Okay. How many are in your flock? And do you need a cave for a home? The female Terror looked up at the sky. There are 6, she paused. 5 if the young one remains part of your flock, Alpha. I still consider him family. Toothless? He is flock, if he wishes to remain as such. The green Terror cooed and moved to nuzzle against Hiccup's side. I fear the not coming back would make you say no. Hiccup reached over and scratched the Terror's head. The Terror cooed again before crawling up Toothless's back so he could peek over Hiccup's right shoulder. The Yellow Terror smiled and then looked at Hiccup. My flock only needs a sturdy tree, Alpha. Then we'll find you the perfect one, Hiccup said, but that may need to wait. We have something important to do right now. We will wait, Alpha. If you need our aid in this task, just ask. Hiccup smiled before standing. He then turned to find Lawkeeper staring at him. The Elder Nightmare shook his head. Again, he said. Again, you show how remarkable you and your brother are, Alpha. Huh? Your brother declared the Tiny Fang flock when you learned he was without one. Even when he left and came back not knowing you, you let him stay as flock. Hiccup tilted his head away from where the Terror was. He's family. That doesn't change just because one leaves and comes back missing some memories. Lawkeeper purred and shook his head again. He bowed. I am humbled that you allow any of us to be a part of your nest, and I am honoured to serve an Alpha worthy of the title. Thank you. Lawkeeper chuckled and shuffled closer so he could nuzzle Hiccup's side. He then tipped his head towards the dragons that were at Gida's house. They are who asked us to join in your lessons, Alpha. The other dragons are the elders of each species. Hiccup frowned as the dragons bowed to him. Can I give you all names? It'll make things so much easier for me. I would be thrilled to have a name chosen by you, the red-orange Nada said. The other dragons, even the Elder Terror, voiced their agreements. Hiccup smiled. Okay, I'll think of some and run them by each of you. You can pick the one you like the best. You were to let us choose? The Elder Gronkle said. Female by her voice. Lawkeeper laughed. Hiccup grinned. Yes, like I told Lawkeeper. It's your name. You have a right to have an opinion on it. I gave Toothless a chance to change his name. He said no, though. I love my name, brother, Toothless said. You gave it to me at the start of our friendship, and it reminds me of that. Alpha, Lawkeeper began. Normally, each species' elder would only keep the stories of their species' ancestors. May we add yours and your brother's tale to our collections? I'm certain generations to come will love to hear it. I believe those alive now would wish to hear it as well. The other zippleback, a male red-coloured one, said. Hiccup looked to those that had been at Gida's house, looked at each other, share several winks among them. Hiccup grinned. They acted like his friends in a lot of ways. They had experienced something other dragons did not, and they were pleased by that knowledge. His friends now rode dragons, and were pleased to know they were among the first of the tribe to do so. Hiccup looked at Toothless. Brother? He asked. I don't mind. Hiccup turned to Lawkeeper. I don't either. We'll tell you when we get a free moment.
We await that time eagerly, Lawkeeper said.
End of chapter. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that one. Okay, so yeah, I just like that. Okay, Hiccup's just welcoming everyone in, just saying, yep, as long as you treat everyone fine, I am completely cool with you guys being here. And it makes sense that humans give each other names. I never really thought about it until reading this fic. But we don't have the sense of hearing or smell that many other creatures do, so we would need a way to identify ourselves. I refer to names as the stamp of our identity. It's our personal symbol, if you will, almost like our logo. Anyway, you guys know the drill. Like, comment and subscribe and hit that bell to be notified whenever I upload a new video. Have a good day, night, or whatever time zone you're in. Bye my guys, gals and non-binary pals. I'll see you in another video. Take care.